Before a woman even takes a pregnancy test, the family dog may already be acting like he read the results. She walks into the room, and suddenly he is staring at her differently. Not the normal dog stare. Not the "are you eating cheese without me?" stare. This one feels deeper. Suspicious, emotional, like he knows something, but because he cannot speak English. His entire medical report is just heavy breathing under the bathroom door. Then the cat joins in. Yesterday, the cat treated her like an unpaid roommate. Today, that same cat is sleeping on her stomach like it has discovered premium heated real estate. The dog follows her from room to room. The cat sniffs her clothes. Even the family parrot may start screaming at the wrong time, because parrots are basically tiny chaotic witnesses with feathers. So the question is simple. Do animals actually act differently around pregnant women? Or are humans doing what humans always do, seeing one weird pet behavior and immediately turning it into a supernatural documentary? The answer is strange because animals probably do notice something, but not in the way people imagine. Your dog is not sitting there thinking, "Ah yes, the human female has entered week 7. Your cat is not calculating due dates. Your horse is not silently planning a baby shower. Animals are not reading ultrasound results. They are reading changes. And pregnancy changes almost everything. The body does not quietly update in the background like a phone app. During pregnancy, hormones like HCG, estrogen and progesterone start shifting hard. Johns Hopkins Medicine explains that HCG is made almost only during pregnancy and rises a lot in the first trimester. Estrogen and progesterone also rise, helping the body support the pregnancy. To a human, that sounds like medical paperwork. To a dog, that may smell like breaking news, because dogs do not experience the world the way we do. We walk into a room and see furniture, people, lights, maybe laundry we promised ourselves we would fold 3 days ago. A dog walks into that same room and smells who sat on the couch, what snack was eaten yesterday, which visitor touched the door, and probably whether someone opened the fridge with emotional instability. The dog's nose is not just a nose. It is a biological FBI office attached to a face. A 2021 review called Canine Olfaction, Physiology, Behavior, and Possibilities for Practical Applications, led by Agnieszka Kokoczyska-Kusiak and other researchers, explains that dogs can detect much smaller concentrations of odor than humans because of their olfactory system. In plain English, your dog's nose is not playing the same sport as yours. You smell perfume. Your dog smells the biography of the person wearing it. So if pregnancy changes a person's body chemistry even slightly, the dog may not think, "Congratulations, you are pregnant." It may simply think, "My human smells different, walks different, sleeps different, and is now eating crackers at 2 a.m. This case is officially suspicious. That is why some pregnant women say their dogs suddenly become clingy. A dog that used to sleep across the room now presses against them like emotional bubble wrap. A dog that used to ignore them now follows them from the couch to the kitchen, from the kitchen to the bedroom, and from the bedroom to the bathroom. Because apparently privacy was never part of the contract. To the dog, the logic may be simple. The human smells different, the human moves slower, the human is more tired, the human wakes up at weird hours, the human eats strange snacks. Something in the pack has changed, and the dog has promoted itself to assistant manager of the situation. Some dogs become protective. They stand between the pregnant woman and strangers. They bark more. They watch visitors like tiny, unpaid bodyguards. A delivery driver walks up to the door, and the dog suddenly becomes a medieval knight defending a castle. The poor man just wanted a signature, but the dog is acting like he came to challenge the bloodline. Other dogs become anxious because dogs love routine. They like knowing when food appears, when walks happen, when the couch belongs to them, and when humans finally stop moving for the night. Pregnancy can disturb that rhythm. Morning sickness changes mornings. Fatigue changes afternoons. Doctor visits change schedules. Nursery furniture appears. Strange baby objects enter the home. And dogs notice all of it. A stroller in the hallway is not just a stroller to a dog. It is a wheeled mystery creature. A crib is not furniture. It is a suspicious wooden structure that smells like fresh paint and future chaos. Baby lotion appears. Tiny clothes appear. New boxes arrive. The dog looks around like, Nobody told me we were hiring another human. This is where people often say, my dog knew before I did. Maybe the dog noticed tiny changes before the human connected the dots. That is still impressive. And this is where real research makes the story more interesting. In 2022, Clara Wilson and researchers at Queen's University Belfast published a +1 study called Dogs Can Discriminate Between Human Baseline and Psychological Stress Condition Odours. They collected breath and sweat samples from 36 people before and after a stress-inducing mental arithmetic task. Then 4 dogs named Treo, Fingal, Soot and Winnie were tested to see if they could tell the difference. And they could. Think about that. Humans got stressed doing math, which is already the most believable part of the study, and dogs detected the chemical difference in breath and sweat. The dogs were not reading minds, they were smelling body chemistry. Now, pregnancy is not the same thing as stress, but the point is important. Dogs can notice biological changes through odour that humans would completely miss. So if pregnancy changes hormones, scent, stress, sleep, appetite, and routine, a dog reacting differently is not magic. It is biology wearing a cute collar. There is another study that makes this even more interesting. In 2018, Biagio Daniello and researchers from the University of Naples Federico II published a paper in Animal Cognition called Interspecies Transmission of Emotional Information via Chemosignals, from humans to dogs. The researchers exposed dogs to human body odours collected during fear and happiness conditions. The dogs did not just sniff and move on. Their behaviour and heart rate changed depending on the odour. So dogs may not only notice that your body smells different, they may also react to emotional chemistry around you. That matters, because pregnancy is not only physical, it is emotional weather. Excitement, stress, fatigue, nausea, anxiety, joy, random crying during commercials. Suddenly the woman is laughing, then crying, then asking why the refrigerator smells offensive even though nobody else smells anything. The dog is sitting there like, I do not understand the plot, but I am staying close. Now, to be fair, there is no strong scientific proof that dogs can directly detect pregnancy the way a pregnancy test detects HCG. Your Labrador is not a furry medical device. Do not replace a doctor with a golden retriever. That is how you end up with medical advice based entirely on tail movement. The American Kennel Club puts it carefully. Many people believe dogs can detect pregnancy-related scent changes, but the idea is mostly conjecture, meaning it makes sense, but science has not fully proven it. That honesty actually makes the topic better, because the real answer is not dogs are psychic. The real answer is that pregnancy creates a storm of tiny signals, and animals are built to notice signals. Smell changes, movement changes, mood changes, routine changes, voice changes, energy changes. Pregnancy does not send one announcement, it sends 1,000 tiny clues. Humans miss many of them because our attention span has been destroyed by apps, bills, and videos of raccoons stealing food. Animals do not have those problems. Their attention is aimed at the room, the body, the scent, the rhythm, and the tiny changes that happen before anyone explains them. Cats are a different story, because cats do not react like concerned employees. Cats react like landlords inspecting a property they already believe they own. A pregnant woman sits down, and the cat climbs onto her belly. People see this and say, the cat knows. Maybe the cat notices something. Maybe it smells changes. Maybe it feels body warmth. Maybe it notices the woman is lying down more often. Or maybe the cat has discovered that the pregnant belly is now the warmest, softest couch in the house. Cats are not famous for emotional transparency. A dog looks at you and says with its whole face, I would die for you. A cat looks at you and says, your body temperature has increased. This benefits me. But cats are sensitive to routine and environment. Move one chair 3 inches and some cats act like the government has collapsed. So imagine what pregnancy looks like to them. New smells, new furniture, new sleeping patterns, new stress levels, new people visiting, a whole nursery appearing in a room that used to be quiet. Of course the cat notices. Some cats become more affectionate. They curl near the pregnant woman, follow her around, or rest against her stomach. Other cats become distant or irritated. because cats have never been famous for handling change with grace. One cat becomes a gentle little nurse, another looks at the baby crib and thinks, absolutely not. That was my office. And then there are horses. People who work closely with horses often describe them becoming gentler around pregnant women. Science here is thinner, so we should not pretend a horse is secretly doing prenatal diagnosis. But horses are highly sensitive to posture, balance, tension, and movement. A rider's body changes during pregnancy. Weight distribution changes. Confidence changes. Even the way someone walks toward the animal can shift. The horse may not understand baby, but it may understand. This human moves differently now. And for an animal that weighs more than a small car and can panic at a plastic bag, noticing body language is not a hobby, it is survival. This is the pattern across animals. Dogs may lean on smell, cats may lean on warmth and routine, horses may lean on movement and tension, birds may notice voice and schedule changes, rabbits may notice energy and body position. The animal does not need to understand pregnancy to react to it. It only needs to notice that the human has changed. And pets know their people. A dog may know the sound of your car before it turns onto the street. A cat may know the exact drawer where treats live, even if you open it silently like a criminal. A horse may know when a rider is tense before the rider admits it. Animals survive by reading patterns, and humans are walking patterns. So when pregnancy changes the pattern, animals respond. That response can look supernatural from the outside, but often it is attention. A pregnant woman may move more slowly, protect her belly, sit differently, sleep more, wake up more, eat differently, smell different and feel different emotionally. A pet watches all of this and thinks, in whatever animal language exists inside its little skull, something is not normal. And then the animal reacts according to personality. A loyal dog becomes glued to her side. An anxious dog becomes nervous. A protective dog becomes dramatic at the front door. A chill dog notices everything and decides to continue sleeping. Because not every dog is auditioning for a movie. That matters too. Some animals do not act differently at all. A woman may be 8 months pregnant, setting up a nursery, walking like a tired penguin, and her dog is still only concerned with one thing: did someone drop cheese? Not every pet becomes a mystical guardian. Some pets are spiritually connected to the snack cabinet and nothing else. But when animals do react, it can feel powerful because pregnancy is already emotional. The body is changing, the home is changing, the family is changing, the future is becoming real. So when an animal suddenly becomes gentle, protective, or clingy, people feel seen in a way that is hard to explain. A dog resting its head on a pregnant belly feels like a promise. A cat curling beside someone during morning sickness feels like comfort. A horse lowering its head gently near a pregnant woman feels almost ancient. Maybe the animal does not understand the baby, but it understands that its human is different. And sometimes that is enough. There is another layer too: sound and movement. People love to say animals can hear the baby's heartbeat. Maybe some animals can hear subtle body sounds better than we can, especially dogs and cats with sharper hearing. But we should be careful here. A pet probably is not sitting there counting fetal heartbeats like a tiny ultrasound technician. More likely, the animal notices a whole bundle of changes: breathing, movement, stress, fatigue, posture, and routine around the pregnant person. Still, from the outside it looks strange. The dog presses its head against the belly, the cat stares at the stomach. The pregnant woman says, "Do you know something?" The animal says nothing, because animals are experts at making humans emotionally unstable through silence. And honestly, that silence is part of the magic. If dogs could talk, they would probably ruin the mystery immediately. You would ask, "Do you know I'm pregnant?" And the dog would say, "No, but you smell different. You cried during a commercial, and you dropped 3 crackers yesterday, so I support this new lifestyle." The cat would be worse. You would ask, "Can you sense the baby?" The cat would say, "I sensed warmth." Do not make this about you. But because they cannot talk, humans fill in the gap with meaning. And sometimes that meaning is beautiful. A pet acting differently around a pregnant woman may not prove a sixth sense, but it does prove something almost as interesting. Animals are deeply tuned into us. They notice tiny changes in our bodies and habits long before we say them out loud. They live close enough to us that our biology becomes part of their environment. That is wild. Your dog may not understand pregnancy, but it understands you. Your cat may not understand babies, but it understands when the house feels different. Your horse may not understand due dates, but it understands when your balance, confidence, and movement shift. Animals are not reading the future. They are reading the present better than we do. And sometimes that looks like magic. This also explains why animals may act weird after the baby arrives. For 9 months, the house has been slowly changing. Then one day, everyone disappears, comes back tired, emotional, and carrying a tiny screaming potato that smells completely new. The dog looks at the baby like, so this was the project? The cat looks at the baby like, that is loud furniture. And from the animal's point of view, the entire pack has changed overnight. That is why some pets become protective of the baby. Others become jealous. Some become curious. Some hide. Some sniff once and decide, not my department. Again, it depends on personality, training, routine, and how gently the family introduces the baby. But the behaviour often starts before birth. They notice the first changes. They watch the house prepare. They smell new objects. They see the belly grow. They feel the emotional weather changing. And because they cannot ask questions, they react with the tools they have. Sniffing, staring, following, guarding, cuddling, hiding, or sitting directly on the pregnant person like a weighted blanket with opinions. So do animals act differently around pregnant women? Yes, many can. But not because they are secretly doctors. Not because your dog read the pregnancy test. Not because your cat has entered spiritual midwife mode. They act differently because pregnancy changes the signals a body sends out. And animals are signal reading machines. They smell what we cannot smell. They notice routines we forgot we had. They see posture shifts we barely feel. They hear changes we ignore. They sense stress, fatigue, excitement, and discomfort in the person they live with every day. To us, pregnancy is a medical event, a family event, a life event. To an animal, it may start as something simpler. My human is different. And that one thought can turn a normal dog into a shadow, a normal cat into a belly warmer, and a normal household into a very confused little animal investigation. Now here is the question. If you or someone you know has been pregnant around pets, what did the animal do first? Did the dog become protective? Did the cat suddenly become clingy? Did the pet completely ignore the whole thing like wake me when snacks are involved? Because honestly, that might be the most scientifically accurate pet reaction of all. Animals may not understand pregnancy the way humans do, but they understand change. And sometimes, before anyone says anything out loud, the animal in the room is already watching. Not because it knows the future, but because it knows you.